A pleasant day, everyone. We, the Group 3, conducted an experiment entitled Purifying Rainwater to produce safe and usable water for the locals of Purok Bagong Lipunan. I am Diane Grace Ojina, and with me are Katrina Regidor and R. Brian Rentuma. We will be discussing about the process and outcome of our experiment. Next. But before that, let me first give you a brief introduction on the environmental problem we chose to address. Water scarcity is the shortage of water to meet the needs of humans. It is when not enough water is produced for daily uses of people in a specific area or community. It is caused by unequal access to water, extensive use of water, and in most cases, overexploitation of water. Other factors that causes water scarcity in a region are elevation, climate change, war and conflict, and pollution of water. In the locale of this experiment, elevation is the main cause of water shortage. Since Purok Bagong Lipunan is located in a higher area, water would not be able to reach the homes of the people when there is a lesser supply. Because of this, some houses invest in water pumps, which can be quite expensive. To provide a more convenient and cost-friendly alternative, we decided to make use of rainwater as alternative to tap water. However, using rainwater directly without any treatments can be dangerous. Next, please. This experiment aims to determine the effectiveness of using filtration and boiling to produce clean and safe water. It also aims to find out if purified rainwater can serve as alternative of tap water for household purposes. Next, please.
The basic principle behind rainwater harvesting is to divert precipitation from one place to another, increasing the water in the latter. An article mentioned that rainwater may not be safe for household use without additional treatment. Hence, testing the rainwater can indicate whether it contains harmful germs, chemicals, or toxins. In this experiment, the process of filtration and boiling will be utilized. Generally, the principle of filtration in water treatment is a process of removing or lessening the concentration of particulate matter and other chemical and biological impurities from contaminated or unfiltered water. Next. Moreover, the principle of boiling is also a process of purifying water since high heat due to boiling can eliminate harmful bacteria. Water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, while most microorganisms cannot persist in water above 160 degrees Fahrenheit beyond 30 minutes. In theory, the process of filtration and boiling will purify the collected rainwater sample. Next.
So for our procedure, we did two processes of filtration. The first was filtrating the water, and then the second was we boiled the filtered water. So in the process of water filtration, there were 5 steps. The first step we did was to put the cotton wool inside the bottle's mouth for extra filtration. Then we added the sand, pebbles, and gravel to the bottle in layers. And the third step, we put the rainwater into the filter to start the process. We did this twice to ensure that it was safe. Lastly, we documented the filtered rainwater's alkalinity, odor, color, and clarity. Next, please. So, in the process of boiling the filtered rainwater rather, there were 4 steps in total. First, we put the filtered rainwater into a pot. Then, we turned on the gas stove to boil the water for at least 1 minute. We then observed and compared the boiled water to the other one that was only filtered rainwater. Lastly, we documented the rainwater's alkalinity, odor, color, and clarity. Next, please.
So here is the experiment and the action to address the environmental problem to be further discussed by our Brian.
Okay, so first what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put this cotton wool in the plastic bottle, placing it on the mouth part of the bottle. So I am pushing it to ensure that it is secure and to make sure that there will be no unfiltered water passing through on the side. Okay, and then I am going to add sand first. So I will be adding the sand, pebbles, and gravel in layer. So after the sand, I am going to add the pebbles next. Okay, so I am going to add the pebbles a little more, and okay, little, okay, that's fine. And then I am going to add the gravel last. Okay. Then I'm going to pour the rainwater onto our homemade filter, water filter. Okay, so now I am going to filter it for the second time. I am already using the first filtrate and the setup. Now I'm going to boil the second filtrate. Okay, so I have to let it boil for at least a minute. Okay. So it's boiling already. Now I am transferring it onto a glass to let it cool, and then I will transfer it back to the same container that I put the first filtrate and second filtrate for comparison purposes. Please excuse the noise, there's a construction going on.
Once the researchers can validate that the rainwater sample that has undergone the process of filtration and boiling is safe for household purposes, the knowledge on rainwater purification will be disseminated to the residents of Purok Bagong Lipunan to aid the ongoing problem of water shortage. This experiment will also serve as a foundation for more in-depth research on cost-efficient water treatments on rainwater.
After conducting the experiment, these are the results that we have obtained and the discussion of each results. So for part A, the experiment focuses on water filtration. For the alkalinity test, red litmus paper remained red on all three setups: unfiltered rainwater, first filtrate, and second filtrate, indicating that the solutions were not basic. According to the principle of rainwater harvesting, rainwater is naturally slightly acidic with a pH level between 4.5 and 5.0. This is also according to Russo 2017. Terry Ree 2017 stated that water filtration removes acidic substances from water, such as heavy metals and other minerals and sediments. Since the red litmus paper measures alkalinity, there were no changes in the unfiltered and filtered water, as the unfiltered water was slightly acidic and the filtered water was most likely neutral. Next, please. For the odor of the solutions, the unfiltered water had a strong earthy scent, which comes from the large visible sediments in the rainwater. The smell also results from other compounds like ozone, geosmin, and plant oils from the atmosphere and the ground. Petrichor is the term coined by Australian scientists in 1964 to describe the distinct odor of the rain. This is according to the Buzz 2021. After filtering the rainwater for the first time, the earthy smell slightly disappeared and only a mild muddy or earthy scent was left because some of the particles causing the smell had already been filtered out. The second filtrate still has a faint earthy odor. Filter without special chemicals or tools cannot completely remove the odor of a solution. However, the scent has faded as some of the sediments causing the smell have already been filtered out. Next, please. For the color, the unfiltered water, first filtrate, and second filtrate were all colorless. The color of the unfiltered water would depend on the process of harvesting. Some water's impurities can cause it to turn yellowish, brownish, greenish, bluish, and even reddish. In our case, the water was colorless. Next, please. Lastly, we have water clarity. The unfiltered rainwater was cloudy and contained many impurities. Visible particles were floating around, some settling at the container's bottom. After filtering, the first filtrate turned out to be slightly clear, with fewer particles visible in the solution. The second filtrate was mostly clear, as it had no visible particles in the solution. However, it was still somehow cloudy. The rainwater filtration process followed the principle of filtration in water treatment and decreased the concentration of pollutants in the solution. It was evident as the water became clearer and the odor slowly disappeared at the end of the first part of the experiment. Next, please. So here are the documentation for part A. As you can see, the unfiltered water had many impurities, and the first filtrate was still cloudy but already slightly clear, and the second filtrate was slightly cloudy but already mostly clear. Next, please. Now for part B of the experiment, boiling was used to treat the already filtered rainwater. This is to kill the bacteria, parasites, etc. As mentioned in the flowchart, the water should be boiled for at least 1 minute. The boiling duration is directly proportional to the elevation of one's location. Since the experiment is conducted in an area with an elevation of 195.45 meters, letting the filtered rainwater boil for a minute is enough, and this is according to distances too. For the alkalinity test on part B, the red litmus paper still retained its color on both the unboiled and boiled rainwater, as boiling decreases the pH level of water. Temperature is inversely proportional with the pH level of a solution. However, this does not always mean that the solution has become acidic. A solution is acidic if more hydrogen ions are present than hydroxide ions, and this is according to Clark 2020. The boiled rainwater has a pH level of around 6.4, indicating that it is still almost neutral. Hence, no change can be observed in the litmus paper. Next, please. For the odor, the rainwater's faint earthy odor has disappeared as most impurities have been removed. The boiled water is already odorless. Next, please. the color of both the boiled and unboiled water was still colorless. There really was no found correlation between boiling and the color of water. Next, please. For water clarity, this is where they differ, as the boiled water has a clear water clarity, while the unboiled water has a slightly cloudy clarity. The principle of boiling suggests that the result was because of the application of high heat in the solution, eliminating majority of the harmful pollutants which cannot persist above 160 Fahrenheit. Next, please. So this is the documentation for part B, and as you can see, it is really visible that the unboiled water is still slightly cloudy compared to the boiled water, which is clearly already very clear. Next, please.
So we were able to come up with a conclusion that the filtration and boiling were determined to be effective by testing its alkalinity, odor, color, and water quality. Moreover, the purified rainwater through the processes filtration and boiling was found to be a good alternative to tap water for household use. So next, these are the references that we use in this experiment. And that is all. Thank you for listening.
Okay, next, please. Next. Okay, once again, that concludes our report for the day. Today, we hope that you have learned a lot from the discussion. As quoted by Audrey Hepburn, water is life. So having access to clean, safe, and usable water is very important. However, not everyone has this privilege. Hence, finding an alternative is a must. Once again, this has been the Group 3. And here are our members: Diane Grace M. Uhina, Dato Harinal, Justin Paloso, Katrina Queregedor, Mark Anthony Reyes, and our Brian Rentuma. Thank you for listening.